when you wake up between 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. early morning, that's your vata time. That's the time your vata is really dominant in your body. So when we talk about even creativity, when you write your morning pages, always keep another page. You can get a lot of exploratory ideas. You can get a lot of creativity. You can tap into your own creativity at that time. It's vata time. Vata is all about ideas, right? It's about different ways you can reach. It's all about that moment, the moment of your ideas as well. It's about motion. It's also at the time you should be waking up if you have any issues with constipation, because it's in the vata time, because vata is really dominant at that time. So natural vata has the capacity to move, and you can move things easily because it's vata dominant at that time. Like this, the natural dominance of vata at that time. So you can unleash your creativity, especially for people who are creative, who are musicians, who are artists. It's the best time to do your yoga practices. You can do your dhyan, you can do your kirtan, like you can tap into your inner potential. It's the vata time. So meditation, any grounding exercises as well. People who have a lot of vata, who are totally not focused, you can try grounding practices at that time, and it reaches your vata. Like you can ground yourself better at that time. Then 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is your morning time. So it's the kapha time, and that's why in the traditional Ayurveda you would never use a sweet toothpaste to brush your teeth. It would be leaves like bitter leaves like neem or some other plants which would be bitter or a little pungent or even astringent.
Is turmeric good to brush your teeth with?
You can. There are some, like Himalaya, we have some toothpastes with neem. There's pomegranate seeds which are astringent. Yeah. So you can try that. And you can also use a tongue cleaner. Whoever, I think people here are more familiar with tongue cleaning and just scraping that off. Your tongue also shows you your status of digestion. So when you wake up early morning, look at your tongue. That's one of the 8 main signs we observe. When I do an Ayurvedic diagnosis, tongue is one of the main thing I observe. If you have a white coated tongue, in spite of scraping it off well, your digestion is weak. Something's going on. So that's one of the biggest signs. If you've seen a lot of people who have fever, who are going through a lot of inflammation, they would have a white tongue, a coated tongue. If you have bile issues, your tongue could be a little more yellowish or even red. If you have vata issues, it could be cracked and all dry. If you have kapha issues, there'll be more whitish accumulation. So we talk about tongue cleaning, then we exercise in the morning. How many people exercise in the morning time? Okay. So for kapha especially, anyone who's a kapha, try to work out in the kapha time. You can really work on your kapha then. That's the time, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So I try to exercise in the morning. The reason is you also have a lot of potential energy by the kapha, and you can have a stronger endurance at that time. Even people who are vatas would have more energy because it's kapha time. Kapha by nature is sturdy, stable. It's energizing, it's nurturing. So try to have some practice in the morning. Exercise, according to Ayurveda, is not about exercising, not about lifting 300 pounds or not just following crazy antiques. It says that when your heart rate is a little bit up and you're sweating, that's when you know you're exercising well for your body. You should be exercising each day at least for 30 minutes. It's not a seasonal routine when you go to your gym all dressed up once in a month and just lift as much as you can and never show your face again. So that's not what exercise is. People who are vatas would exercise more, like they're very energetic, like they have a lot of energy of movement, right? Kinetic or kinetic energy. They don't have stored energy, but they have more energy of the moment. So they will keep moving all the time. Like they have the energy of motion they can tap into, but it's very difficult for vatas to pull back. Like once they are on the go, they are always on the go. And these are the people who would have burnouts because of exercising too much. You don't have a lot of energy within you. You don't have stored energy within you. A kapha can exercise without eating anything. But if you're a vata, you would need to have some snack or something to be able to exercise. So I'm just giving you some practical tips you can use. Yeah, sure.
So vatas can also exercise during the kapha time?
Yeah, because see, when kapha is dominant, it's dominant in the nature and in your own body at that time.
Right.
So you have a lot of energy stored within you, like you can tap onto the stored energy within you. If you're a vata and you're exercising at vata time, it could lead to imbalance of vata, right? It could lead to vat prakop. Because of the time being vata, you will be more stimulated. If a kapha person, if he's having trouble, he can work out in the vata time. That would be fine if they work out late in the evening or around 2 to 6 p.m. for a kapha, that would be fine. Because the energy of the movement, like energy of motion, vata, it's going to push him to do things, push him to get things done. Is that clear? Any questions so far?
With kapha time, because it's also breakfast time, to not overdo it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So we don't overweight.
Yeah, so if you're a kapha dominant body type, you can skip a breakfast. You can have something really light, maybe have a snack, maybe have like a small fruit. If you're a vata, you will need to have something, preferably something warm and something nourishing. If you're a kapha, pitta, you will need to eat because you have a stronger digestion. But your biggest meal, if you look at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's the pitta time, and that's where you should have your biggest meal. And a lot of people say have king like a breakfast. It's not true. You don't need to have have breakfast like a king. What am I saying? Yeah.
Lunch like a king, no?
Breakfast like a...
No, according to Ayurveda.
Yeah, according to Ayurveda, lunch should be your biggest meal. Have a light snack. You can have some chai if you're not hungry. If you're a kapha dominant person, you can have some light snack, maybe a little bit of fruit, maybe some chai in the morning. If you're a vata, you would still need nourishing things. You can have a grain porridge, like an oats porridge. A pitta can add some more things to it, like mix a few things around. Maybe add some cream or some ghee as well. Vatas can add ghee too. So that's the morning time. In the kapha time, try not to eat too much. And that's why you should have a light breakfast. In the pitta time, when your pitta is associated with fire. So it's going to digest whatever you put into it. And that's why when you have a heavy lunch, you have till the end of the day to kind of keep moving and keep digesting. If you have a heavy dinner, you're just going to sleep in a few hours. So you're not going to burn that up. Dry brushing, we were talking about dry brushing yesterday a little bit. So dry brushing, you can do it in kapha time. You can do your abhyanga in the vata time. That would be the best, between 2 to 6 a.m. If you want to do like a dry rub with a few powders, it's called as udvartan. You can do it in the kapha time. People who have issues with weight, people who have issues with cellulite, there's triphala powder, triphala or triphala, however you choose to call it, and you can use it as a dry rub. When you do abhyanga, traditionally it's always abhyanga for vata, you kind of follow the direction of your hair follicles. And when you're dry brushing or doing udvartana, it's the opposite direction. Yeah.
What is abhyanga?
Abhyanga is oil massage. So you can do it for your own self. The best thing, routine for a vata to be, wake up really early in the morning, maybe in the vata time, have a good abhyanga, brush your teeth, just get ready, have a warm bath. So that could be something a vata can really do. Anyone, like any of the 3 doshas can do that. Any questions so far? Pitta time, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's the time to strategize. If you want to have any strategies in place, that's the best time. If you want to write down your goals or plan things, that's the best time to do your planning. 2 to 6 p.m. is the Vata time, so that's when you can run your errands and get things done, because you're moving, you're getting things done. Like you would have trouble focusing sometimes because of Vata, but it gives you that energy of the movement, right? You can move and get things done during Vata time. 6 to 10 p.m. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is again the Kapha time. So ideally you should try to have your meal before 6 p.m. because then your Kapha takes over. So it's going to make things sluggish. So if you have it roughly around 6 to 7, that's fine, but try not to eat later in the day. And that's one of the reasons why people eat before sunset.